Okay, what I've done here is I have made, so you can see this, 4 different values. This is the darkest one right here. This is a little lighter, but still kind of dark. This is lighter, and this is lighter still. I might need a 5th one between these two, but I'm going to see how this goes, and I'm going to try to map this out and make it more clear. So, for instance, this is maybe where I'm going to take the middle ground colors, the dark and the 2 colors in the middle, and I'm going to make one that's just right in the middle there. Red's kind of a middle value, so I'm going to go ahead and use that to mark out, you know, the red and the light, okay? And just leave it like that, okay? The blue is a darker than a middle value, so I'm going to actually darken that color up a little bit and map this out a little. This is more, maybe just a wee bit more on the top of the blue. Don't worry too much if it's not exactly, oh, it's got to be a little darker than the red. That's okay. Just keep it close. I'm going to change the shape of that a little bit, so I'm going to probably take a little bit off the top. But I'm going to take this darker color here, and I'm going to go and paint in over that table that I'm seeing back there. Just kind of pull that all the way through here, behind that apple and everything. Okay, now I'm going to look at the, like for example, I've got a lot of darks in there already. What I want to do is let's look at the apple down here. It's pretty light, right? So I could go ahead, let's see how, yeah, just the medium color that I did. It's a hair stuck. Oh, there we go. I can go ahead and just add some around the top, kind of like a donut, and then on this front side. That's where it's catching light. So the top and the side. Okay. Then same thing, I'm going to come over here, and this is pretty light also. This is where the point is. Get some of that off. And it's going to go all the way down here, and all the way down here, and then paint some of that in, and then basically bring it around across the form. It's pretty light. Now, there's some transition colors in there too, but what I'm going for is the basic simplicity of it. I'm going to take this next color and a little bit darker and paint that in, and then even a few brush strokes with that, and down. Okay, and then I'm not trying to get it perfectly round, but I'm going to take the darkest color that I have, and mix it with the one up, and basically just cut this nice clean line in there where it's in shadow, just that edge like that. Let's just see if it might dry too light. I might have lightened it up too much, but we'll see. Okay, so in fact, I'm pretty sure I did. But you know what? Remember this: acrylics dry darker, so it could be just fine. So I'm going to take in the shadow here this color, knowing it's going to dry darker, and really just shape out the box. So in fact, it might be very nice to use a bigger brush. Here, here. Pull those marks down. Okay, so that's the side of my box. And underneath, there's a little bit of a shadow being cast from this piece, from that round ball. There is a shadow being cast on this back. I'm going to look at the yellow. The yellow's box is pretty light, but in the shadows, I'm going to go for this lighter of the 2 darks I have. Down here and across. Hopefully that those are parallel. This should be parallel to this. Those should be parallel to the side. So here and here. How does that look? Okay. Then slightly lighter, add a little bit of a, oops, I don't want it to be too light, but basically, let's see how this works. Down here. So I'm mixing the shadow and the light color together. The lightest shadow and the darkest light, and trying to make something that looks like a light shadow. We shall see. Right? It's a little bit of that is in here also, around the apple, and across there. You can always straighten that up later. Now, there's also a shadow right in the middle of this. I'm going to put in there just like that, just a brush stroke. And this is already kind of dark, but I'm going to go over it with just a little bit. I actually picked up some blue, which is okay. I didn't mean to, but it just happened. Okay, that's a little bit darker color there. And then here we have two lights. Boom, boom. We also have light on top of this, except that there is a shadow being cast. Let's just point this out. This part is in light. That. This, so we get the half part of that cylinder in light. Also the top. So that's in the lips. And then we also have the top of the box around it, also light. And even if I lose that line, it's okay because I can, I can get back anything I need to with acrylics. Just paint over it. So that encases some of the shadow there. Now here, interesting enough, there is some light here too, but it's not as light as what's on top, which makes me think I might lighten the top up a little bit. But right now I'm just going to put this color down because it works. So right now they're probably going to dry the same. But if the light's coming down, this will be lighter than this. Then that's a good thing to keep in mind. Okay, so let's just clarify that line a little bit. And then I'll look at this. Back here, we all same thing. That and that, they're both light. So I'm going to take the lighter of the colors, draw this line here, go down, draw this line here to do the upper part. Okay. And then I want to clarify this shadow side because it's kind of blobbing into this. So I'm going to take my darker of the lighter of the shadows and draw this in nice and clear. Okay, and then I'll brush just a little bit that way. I can also take something between the two and just before it dries, just to turn the form, some marks just like that. Just to help turn the form. I'll get into that later. It does look like it's getting narrower at the top, doesn't it? Maybe widen that a bit. Okay, so then, so now I'm looking at this, the green box, okay? It's, it's darker in here, and, this is slightly lighter. So the darkest of that is right in here. A little bit at the top. Well, I've got so much paint on this, it's really not getting darker for me. So, let me try a different brush. And I'm going to go with a little bit narrower brush too. It's kind of a small area. So, basically darker right in here. And then I'll go to a little bit lighter shadow right in here. Okay, then and define this plane right here. On the top, we have a cast shadow from the apple. The apple itself is got a shadow on this side, so basically it's really the darker color sitting here, coming up, is getting that little bit of that cast. And shadow right there. By the top of the box is a whole lot lighter. I'm gonna just collect some paint again. Okay. rinse my brush, and then we'll go to the top of the box, which is a whole lot lighter. And so I'm gonna just pull that in this way, all the way up here, so that can be seen. It's lighter. And the top of the apple, sort of light like the other one, sort of like a donut, and then light coming down on the side. Okay, so I'm kind of showing too much of the top, or maybe exaggerating that top a little bit, but there's also a thickness to this right here and there, so I want to make sure that I'm showing that as well. And this is a shadow from the cylinder, so I want to make sure that's dark. There. Okay, now just gonna come back like that. So okay. So then we've got some light in here. So I could definitely get more detailed with it, but what I want to do is hold off and just make it simple for now. So what I'm going to do is take my lightest light. I'm going to make some more of that middle light. So most things are going to be pretty light. So across the box here, let's just lighten that up a little bit. And I realize there's slats in there, which I'm going to go back and do, but not at the moment. I want to just kind of establish all over light and shadow pattern.